A wedge functions as a moving inclined plane. This wedge that you see here, which is in red, tapers to a thin edge, and it's used for splitting, raising heavy bodies, or for tightening by being driven into something. So the goal here, the purpose of this person using this wedge, they want this wood to split. So imagine that there was no wedge here for a moment. Imagine you have this piece of wood. I'm going to redraw this piece of wood. And you go in here with your fingers, and you grab hold of this, and you try to pull this wood apart with your hands. It's ridiculous, isn't it? There's no possible way, barring Chuck Norris showing up, that that's going to happen. But as we all know, if you can get wood to break apart, let's say if we could just get this broken apart so there was a 1-inch gap. If we could get a 1-inch gap in here, then these two pieces of wood, they just fall apart. So that's the idea of a wedge. You need to be able to get it in just an inch. If you can get an inch in widthwise, the whole thing's going to fall apart. So how do you get it in an inch? Because that also seems difficult. Well, you take the wedge, and you take the pointy part, and you put it down. And then you beat the living snot out of this wedge with a sledgehammer, such as this gentleman's using here. At the very beginning, all you need to do is just get it started. At the beginning, maybe you need to get in just 1/8 of an inch. As you get in 1/8 of an inch, and then you hit it again, and then maybe it gets in, maybe it would be 1/4 of an inch. And pretty soon, as you're pounding this down into the wood, the full thing, the full wedge, gets to be in it. And by doing that, you've broken this piece of wood apart, and then it gets split. So what's the trade-off here? Well, the good news is you can use less effort with this wedge than you could with just taking your hands and pulling it apart. But the bad news is you have to use more distance. We have to drive this down the length of this wedge. Let's say that this wedge is 12 inches. In order to just simply move it, let's say, 1 inch horizontally. So you want to move it 1 inch apart, but to do so, you have to move this wedge 12 inches deep into the wood. So you're moving 12 times the distance, but theoretically, you're only using 1/12 of the force. It's obviously going to be more force than a 12th because of friction, because the actual mechanical advantage deals with friction.